This is Meri at the Meri Atelier, and this is an unlisted live stream. After it processes, I will make it public. But I am in the process of binding a zine journal. I had participated in a zine swap a year or so ago that Janet Young and Dee Dee did, and I want to make a little zine journal, and I am doing some Coptic binding. Well, I ran out of time in my live stream, so I'm going to do just another short video. I don't think I'll get all the zines bound, but I'm going to work on it. And as I work on this, I'll just do unlisted videos and then let them go live later. So let me put this up on the stand. And probably zoom in a little so that you can see it better. And I will put a link to the video where I started this, and I'll try to put a time code in because it was in my live stream. Let's get it in a little there. See if I can tip my camera, and there we go. So I am in the middle of doing some Coptic binding, and let's see, if I make myself stay right in here, I should be in frame. I didn't send this to, well, maybe I'll send this to myself. Let me share this. You'll see me go blank for a minute. All right, I'm back, and I have to zoom back in. But I'll be able to, when I do an unlisted video, I'll be able to see myself work. Let me get into it over here. And it's working on it. There we go. All right, so I'm binding my original zine to the back cover. I'm doing a Coptic binding. I'm binding through 5 holes. I showed in that other video where I poked these holes, I covered the cover. This cover is a beautiful blue cover. It's paper that I got from Shannon Green a couple years ago. Just a beautiful painty paper. And I thought that I would just continue binding this, and I'll probably do other unlisted videos, but I'm showing how I'm binding this with the Coptic binding. Now I'm ready for the 3rd stitch. This is the center of my zine. I poked holes. I made a template, poked holes in my zine in the very center of it, and then I poked holes on the covers right in here, about 1/4 of an inch in, and these holes should match up with these, and they do. So let me finish this. So I'm going to go down in the center of my zine, down into the 4th hole here, and go in. And then you go through in the same hole in your cover. And I have it clipped here. I'm always taking that clip out. That clip kind of bothers me. And I'm using a curved needle. They work best for this type of binding because you'll see when I come to the back here. Let's pull it through. Let's pull the thread through. And I have a longer thread here because this was a piece of thread that I had measured out for another journal, and I was doing that wrong, and so I cut the thread off. Well, I didn't take the thread out of the needle, and I'm using it for this one instead. Now on your first zine, you kind of want to keep these threads even. You don't want them too tight, but you want them tight enough. And as you work with it, they kind of loosen up and you need to tighten again. So just kind of tighten them up. And then when you're through that hole to the back right there, you take your needle and you go under your thread. My thread's right there. You go under. And that's one reason why a curved needle works really well, because you can just go under and point it back up again. And yeah, but curved needles for other types of stitching probably isn't as fun to work with, but for this type of binding, it works really well. So you just pull that through and tighten things up. Make sure it's kind of tight in there. You don't want to tighten it so much that you're ripping your signature. Then you go back through that same hole. See if I can get it through both of them. There we go. You go back through. You come back through this way. And because I'm working, as your thread gets shorter, it gets a little easier. Longer threads are a little harder to work with. Come back through, tighten it up. Now let's do our last hole here. Same thing. Go down through the last hole of the signature and through the, let's get it in there, through the last hole of the book cover. Come through there. Come through there. Now keep your thread nice and straight. Now at this point too, you want to make sure you got a nice, and they're pretty tight in there. I'm happy with them. That's the center of my signature. And let's come back out here. Now, I'm going to go under this one, but I'm not going to go back through the signature here. We're going to go through this, and then we're going to stop for now. And I'm going to set this aside, and my next signature that I want to bind will be, if I can find it here. I had it out. Where did I push it? Did I put it back in? I put it back in. It's going to be this one. And I was looking through these in my mainstream. This is In Lovely Memory of Charlotte. It's kind of a Halloween one. Very nice. And this was done, I don't know who did this. I don't see a name on it. I don't know who, did they put it on the inside maybe? Oh, they did. It's over here. Brenda Robinson. Prompts were Charlotte's Web, yellow, green. Yellow and green. And she got Charlotte's Web and yellow and green on here. And this is her zine. But now what I have to do is take my template that I had here, right here, and make sure I have the top. I marked this as the top. Make sure I have the top at the top of the zine. And this template is the exact size of my zines, of the ones that are this size. Some of them are a different size. I'll have to make it fit. But I have my awl out here, and I'm just going to poke some holes. And some bookbinders will put this in a book like this and then poke down that way. On these, I'm just going to hold them in my hand. I'm just going to poke holes through here. just like that. And you can poke holes in here and then draw holes with a pen on your signature, because I'll be using this template for, do I have this upside down? Do I have the top? No, I have it right. Got to make sure I have it right. Otherwise your signatures won't match up. Let's do the last one. There we go. So now we've got holes in here. You can kind of see them. I'll be able to fill them with my needle. And they will match up with these. Now I'm going to take this bobby pin out of here. And want to make sure that you kind of keep this straight. I think I can put that bobby pin back in here to hold it to the back. You kind of have to work with these pins, bobby pins, or your clamps, as what's most comfortable for you. But then I'm going to put this signature on top of this one, and I'm going to clamp these two together. Like this. As best you can. And so now you're ready to bind. I told you to stop. Well, that's because you don't go back through that one. I'm going to put another bobby pin on this, at least to start with, to hold it nice and even. I may take this out as I get going, but all right, that will work. And see how these holes match up there? They match up pretty good. Well, you take your, instead of going back through this hole, you go back through this one at the center of your next zine. And I'm working back to front. This is my back cover. I'm using a wax thread. So you go in here, go clear through. Gotta find it here. There we go. Pull it through. So now I'm working from the bottom up instead of from here. I went top down. Here I'm going bottom up. And you just pull it through. Pull it through this way. There we go. Now you come, get my awl out of the way. You find your next hole here, which is kind of hard to see. Right here. Up in here. Should have probably marked these with a pen. There we go. So I'm coming from the bottom, I'm going to the next one up. I'm coming under, or not in, I mean, not, I'm coming to the back from the inside to the back. And got to keep your thread from getting knotted. Here, it's getting twisted here. When you work with a longer thread, it finds its loops and wants to do its own thing. I'm not going to let it. I'm on my needle here. Let's not let that happen. And as your thread gets shorter, it will tend not to twist as much. This thread was really not measured for this journal. This was measured for another journal. I can't get this undone here. Do not let it twist. There we go. Now we're going to continue pulling that through. Keeping my hand in there helps guide it. Now at this point, you're going to come under your thread on your prior signature, and I think I'm going to come under left to right, so I'm going to come over this way and under that way. I'll show you here with my needle. So I've come through the center of the hole, and I'm going to come under this thread right in between the book cover and the first zine. You could go right to left. You could come under this way. I could do that, right to left going back up and left to right going down. Let's do that. See how that needle just went right in and then it tips right up again. That's the advantage of a curved needle. So you pull that through, and then you go back through the hole on the second zine. So you go back through this. And on these, because I didn't mark them with my pen, it's a little bit harder to find the right hole. I think I found it there. And pull it through carefully so you don't knot it up again. Holding on to it. Keeping things as straight as possible. And then, because this is green, you're not seeing that thread, but it's right there. You want to go to the next stitch up, which is my center one. And it's right here. You're going to go under. Now you don't have to go under the book cover. That's why the first one is kind of hard. They get easier because your thread is going to go under this thread, not back through here. And so we're going to go here. And I'm going to go right to left again. So I'm going to come under this thread, under there. This pops right in there. And pull it through. Go back through your... And where is it? It's here, so it's a little bit off. Right in here. It'll find its way. It will find its way. Right in there. Right there. Oh, you know, and I meant to put the copy of mine. I'll do that next. My bottom signature here, you can't see it, I'll show it to you after I get done here, is my original zine, which is very dimensional, and that's why I put it on first. And then I copied them when I sent them off to the swap. I didn't want to send buttons and bows and dimensional things. All right, I'm going back in again. And it's pretty easy because you don't have to worry about going through the book cover. And so that's what makes it easier as you're binding. And then you go underneath of that thread from the previous zine, just like that. Come through. See, it's getting much easier. My first one, your first one is always the hardest. I think the first and last, because you're binding them to the book covers, is always the hardest. All right, we're going to go back through. And you can kind of see where your thread is. It guides you through it pretty easy. Go back through. And then one more here I come through. Now again, I'm going to stop and add my next zine. But I'm going to go under this one first. I'm going to go under this thread, and then we're going to stop. And my next zine is going to be the copy of my own original. So I'm going to stop here, and I'll probably take these two out. And I don't think I can get my bobby pin itself over two of them. I might be able to. I do have some binder clips that will work. But for right now, I'm going to use the bobby pins because, well, that might have been the wrong spot to put it in. Stretching my bobby pin a little here. I don't think I could go any more than 2 with my bobby pin. I'll have to get my clips out. So let's get my next zine out and mark it. And I can only go for a few more minutes. Well, I can go till a little before 10. Let's find my copy. These are all the zines that I'm doing. Someplace in here is my copy is right here. And make sure I have top up, and I'm going to poke it with the, I'm going to make the, go to the center. And this is folded pretty nice. I showed on my original where you can tape these corners together, but this one's folded fairly nice. It closes pretty nice here. This is the copy of my original, which is the bottom one over here. It's clamped down. But you'll open it to the center of the zine, 2 pages on each side. Make sure you have the top of your template at the top of your zine, everything facing the right way, and put it in this fold, and take your awl or whatever your pokey tool, whatever you're using, and poke some holes. And this is what in our membership group, our Fib Diggity Creators, which is the tier 2, I am doing we are doing a zine journal similar to this. And there are many different ways to bind your zines. You do not have to use Coptic stick binding like what I'm doing here. I think we came up with about 10 or 12 different ways to bind your zines. Now I'm going to get my bobby pin and clip these 2 together. And let's make sure that I'm having them like I want. Just hold them together for now. Now, I'm at the top, up over here. It's where I left off, right here. Let's get this bobby pin out of the way. So what I'm going to do is get in the center of this. And I need the center. 1, 2, yeah. And the more you work with these, the easier it becomes. All right, and then you go back down through the first hole on the next zine as you're working down. So you go through here. Like this. Like that. All right, then you come down to the second hole in the next zine as I'm working down through that. And what makes this easier is you don't have to go to the book cover again. And you can see my thread is getting shorter too, and it's easier to handle. But my zine is bouncing around on me. Let me put another bobby pin on it. And I'll have to go to clips at some point because these bobby pins aren't going to hold the thickness of this. They're just bobby pins. All right, now I'm coming out of the second, I want to get these matched up. And so now what you're going to do, instead of going through the book cover or going through the first, you're going to go through the thread on the second zine, which would be, and since I'm working down, I'm going to go left to right, right to left, right to left, I think. Right to left, left to right. I don't know if it really matters. Natasha could answer that. I'm going to go left to right going down. And see, I'm right between the first and second zine. I'm not between the book cover and the first zine. I'm between the second zine and the third zine, third one. I'm right in there. And let's pull it through. We're pulling it under. We're not going through yet. We're pulling it under. And then you go back through that same hole. Go back through the second hole there. And pull that through. And it really does get easier. I think the inside zines, or the inside signatures, in this case they're zines, are easier to do than the first and second, the first and last one. All right, and then you go back through underneath of the third one, come back through, and I'm watching this because I don't want it to get caught on those bobby pins, that thread. And try to keep your threads nice and tight. That's something I'm constantly having to work on. And so I'm going to come back through the thread between my second and first signature. And so let me get there. It's a little bit out of place on this one. It's way down there. I might have to adjust my signature a little and pull it underneath that thread between the first zine and the second zine, under there, and then come back up and go back through. Did I get in there? There we go. So I'm coming back through the center of my zine. Just kind of keep going here. And I think even with this long thread, I'm eventually going to have to add another thread. Natasha shows how you can measure out enough thread if you're doing, you measure this, and I can't remember if she does it 3 times. And then she takes that times the number of signatures that you have, I believe. But that may not be right. I don't know if you do it, measure once this way or 3 times that way. I get mixed up on that. I don't do that. If I need to add more thread, I will. And I probably will have to on this. So now I'm ready to go back down into my 4th hole. Back down into here, back through, and I'm keeping an eye on my time because I'm doing this right after my morning stream, and I end at 9 o'clock, but I need to be off of here before 10. All right, so since I'm working down, I'm going to go left to, I'm going to come under this way because I'm going top down. Bottom up, I go that way. And I'm not sure that's right, but it seems to be working enough for me. I'm happy with it. And as you add more zines, you start seeing a pretty little braid happening. You can kind of see it there. And go back underneath. Go back through your hole there. Did I get in there? Yeah, I have to turn this so I can see where I'm going. I will put a link to Natasha at Treasured Books tutorial on Coptic binding. It's an excellent tutorial. An excellent tutorial. She has a written text that you can download, but as she binds, she follows that same written text. And so you can print out that instruction sheet, that PDF, I think it's a PDF, whatever it is, you can print it out, and as you're doing it, you can listen to her video, and she references every step as she goes, and you can just work right along with her. I'm getting so that I understand. Well, I still make mistakes. I made a mistake on my other journal, but that's because I hadn't done this for a while, but I generally understand this. It's pretty, the inner zines in here are pretty easy to do. So now I'm working top down, so I want to come under here and stop. Under here. And stop, and then I'm going to add another signature. And I'm punching my holes as I go in these zines. And my bottom zine, well, I've got bobby pins in here too. We can take these out now because we're going to add another signature. But you can see how nice it's binding it in there? And if I'm using a kind of a gray black. On here, it looks darker than it does once you get it out, but it matches. But if I had a pretty orange or red one, wouldn't that look nice on here? I have a white one. Let's see, let's add another zine. And I haven't chosen the zines. They're different sizes. Like this one's a little bit smaller, so I'm going to have to be careful when I do that one. Let's add a light colored one, or maybe even this one with a touch of blue. Let's check it, because you can see it makes a difference in here. I kind of like adding this reddish colored one. It'll add a tinge of red there, but maybe I should do a light colored one. I'm going to put, this one is Janet Young's, and it'll be the first one. It'll be number 1. It's a real cute little story. I read it in the stream. This is that one with the touch of blue. Which one do I want to add next? Let's add this one. It's the same size. Eee! What are the prompts? The prompts are Basquiat, Basquiat, and emerald green, and shoes. I don't know what a Basquiat is. Me! All right, this is the center of it. So I'm going to stop and poke some holes. Use my template. Make sure that I have the top of my template at the top of my zine. It is the right size. The zine's just a teeny bit smaller, but it'll work. I'm just going to poke my holes in the zine. Like so. Like so. Here. And this probably will be the last one I do in this video. I'll start another video later, and we'll finish this until I get them all bound. I could do them in my live stream again, but I don't get anything done. All right, so now I'm at the bottom. I'm at the bottom of my zine journal. So I want to put this one on here, match them up as best you can, and find the center here and the center there, and match these up. Now I really do need, I can't clip these down again because my bobby pins aren't that thick. I really do need to get out some binder clips, and I'll do that on my next zine. I'm going to try to work at it this way. This one will kind of flop around, but I think I can do it for now. Holding my hand in there. All right, now I'm ready to go. I've gone under this one. I'm ready to go to my next zine. I'm starting at the bottom, and I'm going to work my way up. So I go through like this. Just bring that thread up like that. And then you go to the next hole, working your way up. Now, since I'm going up, I'm going to, when I came down, when I went under my threads, I went left to right. Going up, I'm going to go right to left. And I'm going through the second and the third zine, that thread right there. And I'm just putting my needle through and pulling it up. Just like that. And tighten it up. And then you need to snug it up. You don't really need it too tight. If you make it too tight, your zines this will be tight and these will be loose, and you'll have an alligator. I might have an alligator anyway, but I'll put a closure on it. All right, so now you've gone under. You want to go back through. Go back. It seems to be the hardest for me, is to find my way back through. And get it kind of in the same hole, but I always miss the mark over on the other side. Hold on. There we go. And pull it through. Come on. I don't want it to catch on that page. And it wants to anyway. Pull it through. See how it's forming its little braid in there? Then you go to the next hole, come in, pull it through, come right to left between the third and the second zine, that thread there, come under that way, and back through. And make sure you get through the right hole here. Back through. That seems to be where I'm messing up with these. I don't find that right hole again. And then the second one up. Come through that way. Come right to left between those two there, right in there. And pull it through. Go back in the same hole. That one went, oh look what happened here. Where did that happen? That happened over here. Let's fix that. I'm not sure where it happened. I can pull it tight. I think it will be okay if I just pull it tight. Might have happened on this one. I think I'm okay. It's going to have a little extra loop in there. Yeah. Let's find out what I'm doing here. Let's see. It goes that way. I'm pulling on this. I might have to take this out. There we go. Let's pull on this. All right, and they're tight enough. You know, I'll just keep working at this until I get it. I think they'll be fine here. Kind of messed that one up a little. You should always check. You should always check that your threads are what you want here. They're a little loose. But if I pull too tight, I don't want to tear my paper. Because zines are made with a relatively thin paper. Alright, and then we're going to come under from right to left. And come under like that and go back through. I'm good. Go back through. Gotta find it. Where is it? It's right here. There. We're on the last one, and then I'm going to have to quit. All right, and you come in through there. You come in through there, and then you go right to left, and then I'm going to stop and set up the next zine. And my needle, my thread's getting shorter, but look what's happening here. I'm liking this. Might be a little tight. Don't want this too tight, because if we pull too tight here, then these will flop open. So just kind of keep it looking like a nice signature area in there. Of course, I've got my bobby pins in here too. Let's take these out for now. And I'll start using the binder clips. I'll probably use the bobby pins on this area, but the binder clips are going to have to clip this down. So we have done this morning, I've done four signatures and the cover, and yeah, we're going to get this done. The next zine is going to be this one, kind of the reddish. I wanted to put a light colored one in between. And it's a little bit shorter, but that's okay. Different people make the different zines, so they're going to have different personalities. So, I am going to leave it there. I might pick up and work on this a little bit more I don't know if I'll work on it this afternoon. I'm working on my studio reorg today, but I might. So, and I'm going to try to finish this in short form videos. I'm doing an unlisted live, and after this processes, I will set it to a live stream, and you will probably see the live. You will probably see it being live, but nobody's chatting. So, thank you for watching if you watched this, and hopefully I can work through all these signatures and have a nice little zine journal. Bye for now.